Ooga, fucking Ooga, cunts. It's Schmeckle. With Halloween coming up and the social justice cunts all up in arms about costumes, again, I figured I'd do something a bit different. For your listening pleasure, how the Cringe stole Halloween. Roll the shit, cunts. Every person in town once enjoyed Halloween, but the Cringe from her safe space just found it obscene. The Cringe hated costumes, they stole other cultures, because she thrived on offense like a victim card vulture. It could be her head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be she wasn't the studying type. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that her brain was 6 sizes too small. Whatever the reason, her brain or her schooling, on Halloween costumes she'd passed a hard ruling. Staring out from her safe space, eyes brimming with tears, she concocted a way to destroy the good cheer. For she knew every child, each girl and each boy would appropriate culture like cultures were toys. And they're dressing in feathers, she said with a whine. Tomorrow's the day, fuck, it's practically time. Then she growled with her Cringe fingers nervously tapping. I'll remove all the fun if I can't stop it happening. For tomorrow she knew all the lasses and lads would be dressing in costumes that she'd labeled bad. And then, oh the whites, whites. That's one thing she hated, the whites. Then the boys and the girls would all chant trick or treat, and they'd eat, and they'd eat, and they'd eat. They would chew on their candies while garbed in strange faces. They would walk around dressed up like bigots and racists. And then they'd do something she liked least of all. Every adult and child, the large and the small, would be proud of their guises and show them off grinning. They'd ignore the fact that to the Cringe they were sinning. They'd sin, and they'd sin, and they'd sin. Then she got an idea, a whiny idea. The Cringe got a wonderful whiny idea. I know just what to do, the Cringe laughed in her fury, and she pulled out her phone to record in a hurry. And she cackled and clucked, now I can't be ignored. I'll explain to them all why they should be aboard. All I need are some viewers, the Cringe looked around. But since Cringy was dumb, there were none to be found. Did that stop the dumb cunt? No, the Cringe simply said, there's no echo chamber, I'll make one instead. So she called all the weak, a new safe space was formed, and you weren't allowed in if you didn't conform. She uploaded her shit and awaited a prize, for surely by now she had opened their eyes. Then a guy said, shut up! And the Cringe buckled down. She thought that for sure they'd all find common ground, but the comments were harsh. Cringy's tears soaked her face. Someone said, you're a cunt and a fucking disgrace. But still she persisted. She called them harassers. You're nothing but bitches and assholes and bastards. She reported them each, yes, she'd whine and she'd whinge. She showed her true colors through shade and got singed. But if Bearing could do it, then so could the Cringe. She continued to post just one video, 5. She believed in her head her opinions would thrive. She blamed all the whites, the men cisgendered straights. How dare you, she shouted, you're mocking my race. Then she shaked and she shook, ill concealing her rage, while the viewers all thought this bullshit must be staged. Ninjas and geisha, this just isn't right. The Cringe screamed, you can't wear these things if you're white. And she whined and she cried, then the Cringe, wits departed, blamed every white person for what some whites had started. The backlash was heavy, the Cringe was depressed. She began to experience pain in her chest. Here we must cut it short, for there's no happy ending. No fixing, no solving, no changing, no mending. No wisdom was learned and no knowledge was gained. There was no size increase in the Cringe's small brain. For then the pain spread and her heart became tight, and the Cringe didn't make it to finish her fight. She fell flat and her skull hit the floor with a crack, and the Cringe was done in by her own heart's attack. So take heed, SJWs, give it some thought, live triggered and wind up in much the same spot. The Cringe made enough noise to stir quite a scene, but her stress did her in, and it saved Halloween. Well, I certainly hope you cunts enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed making it. If it catches on, if you guys liked it, I may do something similar in the future, I'm not certain. For now, I'm gonna call it a fucking night. Remember to go and take a look at fucking Wrath of Controversy. He's got a really fucking funny channel, he's got some great, well thought out opinions. Well worth taking a fucking look, well worth your time. That's it. Now fuck off! Jesus Christ, is that my fucking lung?